Guys, Joe Vizio here. I got some things I want to talk about. See how it goes. Sorry, I had to adjust the camera here. I don't really so much get into a lot of the comment arguments and things like that on these narcissism channels. I do like to get on there and let you know that I'm supporting you, and I like the work that you're doing and things like that. But I don't engage a lot of the arguments on there. And kind of brings me back to a time. I guess there was somebody that had done something that was frowned upon by the narcissism community. And I guess she had said something about one of the big people on here. But and this person, went on to defend themselves. And if you read through the comments, you see that a lot of people that, are kind of on here seeking help from things that were happening to them. We're kind of doing some of the same things. And what I mean is, if somebody does something that is disapproved by the community, you can let them know what it is. This is what I disagree with, blah, blah, blah. But it seemed that a lot of people were on there attacking the appearance of this person. That they didn't make themselves up for the video. They didn't fix their hair, or they were too fat. And I kind of don't like. I don't get into things like that. You want to attack the character, but appearance is kind of a different thing. Gray area here. I'm a person that, and I've said this a lot, that, when I was a kid and my father left and my mother had to go back to work, I was kind of pushed into a position to where I had to grow up fast. But I probably wasn't mature enough to do that. So a lot of the appearance and hygiene aspects of that kind of slipped by me for a little bit. I got made fun of in school, going there without combing my hair, or having a little bit of last night's dinner stuck to my face, and I didn't brush my teeth every day like I should have. I was a 7-year-old boy, It caught on to me eventually. But, it was kind of circumstances beyond my control. But when, I kind of have the same problem with my mother. My mother's a 65-year-old woman. And out of sheer laziness, she really doesn't groom herself. Now, this isn't the most important thing in the world, but, I kind of have problems because sometimes my mom stinks. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because it's true. My mother sometimes carries a foul odor. I won't even use the word stink. I've, tried bringing it to my mom's attention. And, my mother is always has that excuse. Oh, I just took a shower yesterday. Well, no, Mom, you haven't showered this whole week. And the more you engage it, the kind of worse it gets, and she starts to get into that whole rage narc thing. So it's kind of something we tiptoe around. You know, my mother's got diabetes. So, you know, you have to be careful with your feet and your legs. But it's important to shower. My mother does not clip her toenails. She will not go somewhere professionally to have her toenails clipped. And she's got these toe nits just sticking straight up out of her foot. With these open toe shoes and you know, as her son, sometimes this grosses me out. We don't get the wrong idea. I'm not out teasing my mom or making fun of her and calling her the greasy granny with the hole in her panty or anything childish. But as a man, as the son of this woman, like sometimes it's embarrassing. Everybody can see it. To where, you know, my mother will wear this black shirt. She says she goes through something at night called the night sweats. And she sprinkles powder all over herself to soak up this sweat. And you could just see the ring around her shirt with the white powder kind of caked on there. And I'll tell her, Mom, you know, it's kind of time to change that shirt, man. You've been wearing it for 3 or 4. I have not. I just put this shirt on this morning. Well, you know, Mom, we had spaghetti 3 days ago and you have pasta sauce on your shirt. But it just gets into a big argument. So there's a difference here. I have a problem with my mom's appearance because she is just straight out not taking care of herself. And in her condition, in some ways, this can be dangerous. It's a fight. And it goes along with how I've described the room, you know, her living conditions and what she does in my house and blah, blah, blah. You know, I've given this speech before. So when I say something about my mother's appearance in that way, I'm not doing it to make fun of her. I'm not doing it to get anybody's goat. I'm doing this because this is a problem. You know, my mother was making these deviled eggs. And we step into the story for a second. My mother-in-law had made some potato salad. It was in the refrigerator. And, you know, I'd offered my mother, hey, got some potato salad if you want some. Oh, them eggs in there stink. I don't like how they boil their eggs, so I don't need anything like that they cook. Okay? My wife and her family, they have this way that they make a boiled egg. I mean, I guess everybody does it different. My wife, they just put it in the pot of boiling water and they just boil the ever-loving shit out of it. And when it's done, they crack the shell, and the shell is just about falling off of these eggs. You can take one finger and boom, everything comes off clean, no shell stuck to it. It's a perfectly boiled egg. I don't notice any smell to it, but, you know, apparently my mother has a problem with it because she said that their eggs stink because of the way they boil them. Go figure. So, fast forward here, my mom's boiling some eggs because she wants to make some deviled eggs for our 4th of July barbecue. And she did it her way. And now she is in front of the sink, just kind of leaning on the sink, and she's got that whole area taken up. as she is laboring, trying to peel these eggs. And the shells are just sticking to it. Her fingernails are just gouging into the egg as she's trying to take these things off. And, you know, I had to take my little shot. I guess Anna's way of boiling an egg isn't so bad after all, huh? Oh no, I would never do it that way. So even in the midst of her fucking these eggs up, she's obviously laboring because she's just kind of leaning on the counter. I mean, the counter is literally holding this woman up as she's butchering these eggs, trying to get them peeled. But no, my wife is still wrong for the way that she does it. So, she gets everything all peeled and she's making these deviled eggs. And she goes to hand me one. Here, try it. And I am just absolutely grossed out. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know where your fingers have been. You have poor hygiene. You're gouging your fingernails into these eggs. So Lord knows how you scratch that scab on your leg and now you're gouging it into my egg. And I was just absolutely grossed out to do this. And she hands me this thing, and my wife is just kind of looking at me, and she's got that half-ass smiling on her face, and I know in her mind she's saying, well, eat it. I want to watch you eat it. I'm going to sit here and I want to watch you eat this egg. So I took a bite of it, but the whole time, I mean, I'm just, and then here's my mother, she hands me the egg, and then she takes her hand out, this is my mother. Mom's supposed to make good things. Mom's supposed to have cookies and shit like that. When you go over to Mom's house, you're like, oh man, I can't wait for Mom's magic meatloaf. The fuck, man? But anyway, so, you know, I hope you guys don't mind too much with my appearance as I do this. You know, I mean, I'm out working. I'm not going to put on the three-piece suit and get out here. I don't want to be a reflection of my father. I mean, I was a reflection of my father when I was with him, but when I wasn't with him, when I was that little boy with the horizontal striped shorts and the vertical striped shirts and two unmatching colors, I definitely wasn't a reflection then. He didn't give a fuck about me. But, you know, I hope you guys just don't read into that, and I don't think anybody does. But, you know, when I seen people that were involved in the narcissism community attacking this person's appearance that, who I guess at that time was shunned by the narcissism community for their actions, and I'm not going to name anybody or anything like that. I just kind of thought, you know, you want to attack what they did, you don't agree with that's fine, you know, let's try and learn from each other. But once you start attacking people's appearance over something like that, you know, that's just, I'm not into that. I don't want to hear no shit anybody because of the color of their skin or where they're from or anything. I'm not down with any of that shit, so don't bring it over here to me. Had enough of that. My sister was a huge racist. Everything had to do with somebody's skin color. She let the N-word fly just like it was absolutely nothing. You know, I don't like Barack Obama, but I don't like Barack Obama because I think he's a bad president. My sister doesn't like this guy because of the color of his skin, and she's not ashamed to say it. So, having things like that, I'm just not a part of any of that. I don't want to hear it. So, that's that. But, being on that same kind of a subject there. As we're at this barbecue, and and all the kids are over, and I love to see the kids running around and playing. This is making memories. They're gonna remember that barbecue over at Uncle Joe's house, and how much fun they had, and I want that. I want that to stay in there. But kids sometimes are very truthful. So, as I've been a smoker for many years, and I've had some dental problems. I don't exactly have the prettiest of choppers, and it's something that does bother me. I don't really have the money to go and get it fixed, and if I did come up with that kind of money, I think I would rather invest it into the surgery on my back. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of something that bothers me, and we know in the United States, with this wonderful medical system we have, it is just, the health of the American people really, really suffers. So, for me smoking all these years, and now I'm chewing this gum, and the nicotine stains your teeth as I'm in the pool. The daughter of my wife's friend says very loudly, "Mr. Joe, why are your teeth yellow?" And I turned it into a lesson for her. Told her, well, Mr. Joe smoked cigarettes for many years, and they leave stains on your teeth, and this is one of the reasons why you don't want to smoke. I was a million miles away. It was like one of my biggest weaknesses just got exposed in front of everybody. So, I guess no one really noticed it after that. I kind of got out of the pool, and I got dressed, and I just started, the cooking dinners. I had ribs. I don't have a smoker grill, so I have a way that, I season them up, and I put them in the oven, and I cook them at like 200 degrees for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I put them on the grill and sauce them. And people come for miles to have some of my ribs. So, I just kind of concentrated on my safe zone there, being in front of the grill, and this little girl wasn't out to do anything to hurt me. She's not a narcissist or anything. She was just being a kid. She was just being a kid, and kids are truthful. As the old saying goes, if a kid tells you you're ugly, you're ugly. So, that bothered me. It still kind of bothers me a little bit, because it's just something that, I never really had the money to fix. At the times where it could have been cheaper to fix, I sacrificed that for my family, or, for other things more important. I can get over a toothache. I can have a tooth pulled if it gets bad enough. And we know how the dental system works. Root canal and a cap can cost you $1,200 just for one tooth, and chances are within the next couple of years you're going to have it root canaled or pulled anyway. So it's just a never-ending revolving door, a hole that you just throw money into. The important thing is starting off with proper hygiene right from the start. And as I said, I was a little late to that. I didn't really get my first toothache until I was in my 20s. And by then, I already, I'd already caught on. I tried my best to take good care of my teeth. But I had only been to the dentist one time my entire life. I was messing around at school, and Tommy Naylor pushed my lunchbox into my face, and it knocked my tooth out. My mother took me to her dentist, Dr. Finkelstein. I'll never forget that man's name. I always called him Frankenstein, but I guess the gist of what he said was, it was a baby tooth, I'll grow a new tooth, and that was the last time I was at the dentist until I was in my 20s. I had a toothache, and, and they told me all the root canal and this and that, and I was so afraid, and I was like, I'll just go put some Ambisol on it, and, the infection spread, and next thing I know, man, I got 4 or 5 teeth that need to come out. So I've kind of always just pieced it together, done what I could when I could, but I don't have the best of choppers. And it is kind of an embarrassing thing for me. It is kind of a weakness, but what do I do? I don't have $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to. That wouldn't even cover the whole thing, And as I said, if I did have the choice and that money to be able to do, I'd have my back surgery. So, what do you do? What do you do when somebody just inadvertently exposes a weakness? Let's just say, and we'll use this example, a female, she thinks that her weight's a little bit of a problem for her. So she spends all this time in her closet, and she's trying different things on, and she finally finds something to where she feels comfortable in, and she goes out into the next room, and the kid says, "Mommy, why is your stomach so big?" And they're kids. They don't mean to do any harm to anybody. Now, I do think that, you need to teach your children not to do things like that. You need to teach them early. My daughter really doesn't do things like that. We taught her early. Maybe if this girl's mother would have said something, hey, you don't say things like that to people. That's not. But I think the mother, kind of was so embarrassed that she said that, she kind of acted like she didn't hear it. So the whole time I'm just sitting there thinking, everybody thinks that I'm just a yellow-mouthed scumbum. And, this is pretty deep for me doing this on here, so, just so you guys know that. This is kind of Joe really exposing himself on here, because that's one of my biggest weaknesses. So, take it for what it's worth. If you have a problem with somebody's appearance, be diplomatic about it. Have some sort of context that you're doing it in. Don't do it just to be mean. Even if the person's an asshole, it's... If you did something the community frowns upon because you make a video without combing your hair, has nothing to do with what you just did. Talk about the issue. I think a lot of times when people argue, that maybe they argue themselves into circles at times because they're not arguing about the issue. You know, when me and my wife argue, if we're arguing over whose turn it is to do the dishes, F you and you're a bitch and you're an asshole, and none of that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're trying to settle. So why even say anything like that, you know? I don't even engage it. Not that, me and my wife do that to each other. It's just kind of a philosophy that we have. Yeah, there is times that we'll call each other names. It happens, but when all else fails, we try to avoid that the best we can. And I think that if a lot of people did that, you could at least agree to disagree and not hurt each other. Just some food for thought. So, hope you got something from that. And brush your teeth. Thanks, guys.